If you've opened an AI art app recently, you already know the secret. Making one gorgeous, hyper-detailed image is now the default expectation. A year ago, we were impressed if the system got the hands right. Now, almost every major platform can hand you a visually stunning concept on the very first try. But if you use these tools for your own projects, you've probably hit the AI ceiling. Making that very first image is effortless. Turning that image into a continuous body of work is where the friction actually begins. Try asking that same tool to generate the exact same character tomorrow. Put them in a new outfit, give them a different expression, place them in a new scene. Suddenly, the system starts to fall apart. In 2026, we evaluate these subscriptions on two competing metrics: aesthetic quality against character consistency. The major tools cluster at the top for raw aesthetics, but watch how they drift apart when maintaining a single visual identity. If you buy a monthly subscription based solely on a pretty demo image, you're setting yourself up for a broken workflow. You'll spend hours fighting the prompt box just to get your own character back. We aren't paying for a slot machine that spits out random pictures. You are funding a specialized production pipeline, and it needs to map directly to your specific daily tasks. Let's start with Midjourney. If your role is art direction, this is your powerhouse. The process is incredibly direct. You type a few words, and you immediately get a polished, striking concept. It requires almost zero setup. Creators use this specifically for rapid visual exploration, building mood boards, and finding a broad visual direction for a project. But that raw aesthetic power comes with a severe trade-off. It struggles heavily to retain strict character identity across multiple generations. It suffers from character drift. Every time you roll the dice on a new prompt, the facial structure changes slightly, the physical proportions warp, and the specific details of the outfit evolve. For a comic artist or someone building a narrative series, this uncontrollable evolution makes the platform deeply frustrating to work with. Without a dedicated continuity pipeline built into the system, you are forced to rebuild your protagonist from scratch every time you move to a new scene. Midjourney delivers unmatched beauty, but it actively resists long-term asset building. It is an inspiration engine, not a continuity tool. Then we have Leonardo AI. This occupies a completely different lane as a broad-spectrum volume engine for general production. It offers a clean web interface and model training capabilities that prioritize operational speed above all else. It excels at generating a massive quantity of highly flexible assets across a wide variety of visual styles. If you work in production marketing and you need a dozen different social media assets and design variations by lunch, this is your tool. However, because it is built to be a generalist, it lacks the surgical, dedicated features required to lock a character's identity for a long-running comic or series.
You can achieve moderate consistency here, but it requires heavy manual curation. You will spend your time filtering out unusable variations to find the ones that match. Leonardo AI trades specialized character focus for broad utility and output volume. It is a practical workhorse for marketing pipelines, rather than sequential storytelling. That brings us to PixAI. This is a dedicated narrative specialist, built specifically around anime-style visual identity and operating characters over a long timeline. Their workflow requires a different approach. Before you can generate a scene, you have to establish a base character identity. This illustrates PixAI's LoRA training. You feed a base character into the module to lock their traits into a reusable asset. Once trained, you place that exact identity into a city, forest, or different environment across months of outputs without the face changing. The catch here is the learning curve. Mastering this training loop requires much heavier upfront effort than typing a basic prompt. But the payoff is control. Features like their Edit Pro workflow let you refine specific elements, like swapping out an outfit, without altering the underlying pose or ever leaving the browser. You do need to understand the constraints. You are operating entirely within an anime-centric ecosystem. If you need photorealistic product mockups, this isn't going to work. Because the workflow is demanding, they offer a free daily credit tier so you can test the entire pipeline before making a financial commitment. PixAI demands real upfront work, but it is the only platform we evaluated that actively solves the continuity dilemma for a sequential narrative arc.
We need to abandon the search for an objectively best AI art platform. It doesn't exist. In 2026, the only correct subscription choice is the one mapped exactly to the type of work you actually ship. Look at this decision tree. The entire framework comes down to one question: what are you building? If you are an art director or concept creator looking for standalone visual inspiration with zero setup friction, follow this first path. Choose Midjourney, but explicitly avoid it if you plan to tell a sequential story. If you are a social media manager or marketer who needs high-volume, flexible daily outputs, look at the second path. Leonardo AI is your tool. It gives you the speed you need, provided rigid, pixel-perfect continuity is not required. Finally, if you are a comic artist or narrative designer building recurring original characters, follow the third path. Commit to PixAI now. The steep learning curve of LoRa training is heavily justified by the payoff of month-over-month consistency. Before you make a decision today, look at your last 10 creative tasks. Did you need 10 distinct ideas or the same idea 10 times? Test the free tiers first. Make sure the workflow actually fits your habits before locking yourself into a monthly payment ecosystem. The ultimate tool isn't the one with the prettiest demo. It is the one that removes creative friction from your specific long-term pipeline.